Welcome back, everyone, to the Librarium of Ludus Infinium. For the fifth, and honestly for now, final video in my Chaos series. I will do more, but I'm going to try and complete Horus Rising first. Today, we are looking at the fourth and final major Chaos God, Tzeentch. So with Tzeentch, it was really hard to pinpoint any kind of personality traits like Nurgle's joy or Khorne's sense of honor. However, I did discover a couple of interesting facts that I only knew the basics of before. So let's start with the basics. Tzeentch is the changer of ways, the architect of fate, the lord of change. But what does that all mean, and what is his sphere of influence? Well, to put it simply, he is the chaos god of change, evolution, intrigue, sorcery, and knowledge.
Oi, boss, you said evolution? I thought the smelly kit was to get for evolving.
Well, that depends on how you look at evolution, I guess. See, Tzeentch is all about evolving to change and becoming more powerful through said change. Nurgle, on the other hand, is about resisting change through resolve. You could actually argue that Nurgle's followers evolve to handle the plagues which he bestows upon them. But that's kind of a half-truth.
What you mean, boss?
Well, instead of naturally gaining these abilities, they suffered through their disease until they give themselves to Nurgle, and he grants them his boon to resist all diseases. So you could argue a form of evolution, albeit an unnatural.
Okay, boss.
As for any kind of personality traits, I couldn't find anything definitive. But what I did find was that he does keep practically everything a secret. If he makes peace with the other gods, he could do it to help chaos overall. He could do it just because it's unpredictable. He could do it because it's a Tuesday. As you can see, there is no rhyme or reason to what Tzeentch does. As for rivalry, Tzeentch's chief rival is Nurgle. Where Tzeentch seeks to grow, change, and evolve, Nurgle seeks to remain the same and persevere through everything. With that being said, I did also discover something that was of extreme interest. It is speculated that Tzeentch holds the most sway over the other gods, being the one who brings them all together in times of chaos undivided. When Tzeentch does bring the others together, it is always for his own gain. Ah, the demon section. Please, I'm begging, don't be as bad as the Slaneshi demons. Here we go. Well, we're at least starting strong with the horrors. And like Neapolitan ice cream, horrors come in 3 flavors.
Are they tasty, boss?
No. They're demons.
But boss, how did they have flavors then?
I'm not even going to remotely explain that one. So, firstly, we have the cotton candy looking pink horrors, who are very ecstatic, frantic, and seemingly manic. If you kill a pink horror, though, it will split into 2. Then you have the blue raspberry blue horrors, who are sorrowful and very evil-spirited. Finally, if you manage to kill a blue horror, it too will split into 2 lemony brimstone horrors. These horrors are as sour as their flavor and name would suggest. They are spiteful, vindictive little bastards to the point where one of their greatest enjoyments is circling a foe and turning them into a blazing pillar of fire.
Boss, I thought you said they didn't have flavors.
They don't. I just thought it was a funny take on them. Moving on. The Flamer of Tzeentch. Now, don't be confused. They aren't like the classic Warhammer 40k weapon. The Flamer, the Heavy Flamer. These demons don't use traditional flames. They use warp fire. Because of course they do. Now, the warp fire they use might burn their enemies, or it might turn them into wax or wood or even metal, or make them just shape change at will. They specialize in plaguing their enemies with many mutations in a short amount of time. Next we have the Screamer. The Screamer. Not what your significant other is in bed, a giant fuck-off manta ray of chaos. These majestic creatures fly through real space and the warp, searching for victims to slay in the name of Tzeentch. They have a somewhat unique ability, because, to be honest, I haven't been able to find this in any of the other demons I've researched. They can burrow through Gellerfield, the thing that's meant to keep demons out. And then it lets warp into the ship. And then, while the bodies are mutating and still conscious, they feed on them. Now, a special little aside on Screamers. When a follower of Tzeentch does something really, really good, Tzeentch will take a Screamer, a big fuck-off manta ray, and turn it into a disc of Tzeentch, which is basically compressing it into a disc with a big-ass eye in the middle of it, usually. For anyone who's played World of Warcraft, they released a mount that is a disc that floats on clouds with Mists of Pandaria. That, but just a squished-up Chaos Manta Ray. And if you do something really good, you get a Chariot of Tzeentch, which is pulled by 2 of them. And if you have one of these, or if you're riding one, I guess you could say, you get access to the Psychic Scream of the Screamer, and you can move as fast as it did in its normal form. So now we get on to one of my favorites. I love and hate this because of Total War Warhammer 2. The greater demon of Tzeentch is the Lord of Change. That bastard. These bird-like demons are, like other greater demons, a part of Tzeentch himself. These capricious creatures are rarely encountered, if ever, by accidents. They are servants of the Master of Destiny and hold some of that power themselves. So if you run into one, they meant for it to happen. 9.9 times out of 10. So, like the other Chaos Gods, we have 2 sets of demons and 2 astartes. We'll start with the Blue Scribes of Tzeentch. The Blue Scribes are a pair of blue horrors with the task of recording every spell and forbidden knowledge in both the warp and real space. They believe, and Tzeentch also believes this, that if they gather everything, forbidden knowledge and spell, it all has a part of Tzeentch in it. So once they gather everything up, Tzeentch will go back to being the most powerful of the Chaos Gods. Next we have the Changeling, because of course. The Changeling is a follower of Tzeentch who is given the power to shape change to a form from the greatest of greater demons to the smallest of life forms. He sets about playing pranks and unleashing schemes upon others to further the whim of his master. Interestingly enough, he doesn't remember. The only 2 people who remember the Changeling's original form is the Changeling and Tzeentch himself. So the Changeling is hoping eventually to be able to regain that form one day, because he can't. And he's hoping to gain enough favor with Tzeentch that Tzeentch will let him regain that form. Tzeentch, on the other hand, most likely will not let him rehab that form. Rehave, new word. Now, I've already done a record on Magnus, so I will briefly touch on him. It is speculated that Tzeentch was the mastermind behind the Flesh Change, the mutations that ran rampant through the Thousand Sons Legion. Magnus eventually made a deal to cure the Flesh Change, most likely with Tzeentch, and ended up damning his legion even more. And at the fall of Prospero, he ended up becoming, to my knowledge, which I've heard conflicting stories on this, but from what I've read and from what I could determine on my own, the first Primarch to fall to a demon Primarch. I've heard it was Fulgrim, but from what I understand, that happens after the fall of Prospero, thus after Magnus becomes a demon Primarch. If anyone has clear information on this, please leave it in the comments or hit me up on Discord. I would love to clarify this, but in my own research, that is the order that it seems. It looks like it's Magnus, Fulgrim. I think then it's Angron, and then Mortarion. Next, we have Ozzy Ahriman. Man. Anyone who knows that music video, there you go. Random joke of the day. Was the first captain and is considered the strongest chaos sorcerer in existence, second only to Magnus. Ahriman has developed a reputation among all races. To aliens, he is seen as a carrion crow willing to feast on their honored corpses for any speck of information. To the humans, he is seen as a font from which demons pour forth, and to the demons, he is seen as an enigma who they are drawn to, who is just as likely to educate them as he is to slay them. So, Ahriman is probably he's up there. He's one of my favorite characters. He really is. The only problem I have with him is that his mission is to learn what Tzeentch's goals are, and anyone who follows Tzeentch knows that that's fucking impossible. So he's not a stupid character, they just gave him an impossible mission that I'm pretty sure he would know is impossible. But anyway, this has been my brief summary of Tzeentch and his followers. I hope you have enjoyed the record. Garlox, take us out.
Yes, boys. To all the nice humies who made it this far, thank you. And we hope you have a wonderful, wog-filled day. Bye.